F-Zero was easily one of Nintendo's best IPs, and honestly has the most potential in terms of gameplay and storytelling. That said, the last mainline F-Zero game was almost 15 years ago for the Game Boy Advance, and that was only based off the anime. Everyone's favorite bounty hunter, Captain Falcon, is yet to return to the limelight outside of Super Smash Bros., but today I'm here to make a pitch for a new F-Zero. Admittedly, this is kind of a dream game, but nonetheless, before we get on to that, let's talk about the last home console F-Zero game, F-Zero GX. F-Zero GX is a collaborative project between Nintendo and one of Sega's subsidiary companies, Amusement Vision. Amusement Vision at the time were best known for working on Daytona USA on the Dreamcast and creating the Super Monkey Ball series, the brainchild of Tasahiro Nagoshi, as well as a plethora of other arcade games. It was actually the success of Super Monkey Ball that Nintendo picked Nagoshi-san and his team to work on their IPs. Shigeru Miyamoto had this to say about Nagoshi-san in regards to working with them. Luckily for Nintendo, we have gained a lot of fans amongst current game developers, including a famous producer like Mr. Nagoshi, who grew up playing Nintendo games and are a big fan of some of our titles. With Nintendo, it comes to a question of letting some other companies work on our franchises. We focus more on specific relationships with talented producers. We look for people who will care and spend a lot of time and energy on a specific franchise. We also want to allow these producers to work on a franchise that they themselves are interested in working on. When asked by IGN on why Nagoshi-san and his team decided to tackle F-Zero as part of their collaboration project, this is what he had to say. "I enjoy working on racing games, so it made sense to me that I should work on an F-Zero." Nagoshi has also gone on to state in numerous interviews that racing games were the reason why he got into the video games industry, so having him as head of the production for this game seemed like a perfect fit. Nagoshi-san also went on to say that Miyamoto-san pretty much let his team do whatever they wanted with the game, giving them a lot of creative freedoms. This led to Takeya Imamura, the art designer behind the F-Zero series, to become so impressed with the game's story mode, believing that Nagoshi-san had managed to bring his characters to life in ways he did not think were possible. F-Zero GX went on to be critically acclaimed by critics, citing the game's fast-paced and challenging racing as the game's selling point. Many considered it to be one of the greatest racing games of all time, and it quickly gained a cult following. Sadly, games of cult followings don't lead to massive sales. F-Zero GX sold a respectable 650,000 copies, according to VG charts. Nowhere near the million sellers that F-Zero on the Nintendo 64 or Super Nintendo were. So from here, the F-Zero series would fade into obscurity, with only Captain Falcon returning as a veteran character in every new Super Smash Bros. Entry. So I guess now we get onto the crux of the video here. You may be asking me, what in the world does Amusement Vision have to do with Sega making a brand new F-Zero game? Well, in 2004, Amusement Vision fully merged into Sega's R&D team. From here, Nagoshi-san stated that his team would begin to work on games that managed to make a fine blend of cinema and gameplay. The first game under this banner released on the PlayStation 2 as Ryu ga Gokoto, or what is best known here as Yakuza. If you'd like to know more about the Yakuza series, I'll have a card in the corner of the video for you to click on to see more about the series. But getting back on track, Amusement Vision was, in a sense, fully rebranded as Ryu ga Gokoto Studio. The Yakuza series has been praised for its rich narratives and amazing beat-em-up combat and a plethora of side content. So once again, you're probably asking, okay, so what's the point? Well, in Japan, Sega has recently released Hokuto ga Gokoto, a Fist of the North Star cross Yakuza crossover game that takes the gameplay of the main Yakuza series and adds a Fist of the North Star skin. So what I'm basically saying here is, we need an F-Zero ga Gokoto. Okay, before you guys go to the comments getting on my case about this, Ryu ga Gokoto's literal translation is like a dragon, so this would make it like a F-Zero, and something like Falcon ga Gokoto would make more sense, but for the sake of the video I'm calling it F-Zero ga Gokoto. Alright, back to the video. This is probably the point where a lot of people will start turning off from the video, but hey, hear me out. I always felt that outside of racing, it would be cool to see Captain Falcon actually do his day job. You know, as a bounty hunter. I also believe that the F-Zero universe is ripe for the picking to expand more on its own narrative. F-Zero GX is honestly a good base for the series as far as storytelling goes. Yeah, I actually like GX's story. While it was very cheesy, it gave off an amazing B action movie feel, and I absolutely loved it. I feel like the Yakuza team could easily expand more on the F-Zero universe and make an engaging world to explore. So now people are probably wondering, am I asking for Sega to turn F-Zero from a fast-paced racing game into a beat-em-up? Well, not completely. I believe that a hypothetical F-Zero ga Gokoto should have an arcade mode and a story mode. Allow the arcade mode to be your normal high-action, fast-paced racing game that the series is best known for, and allow for full multiplayer. Then from there, you can have a story mode that explores the day-to-day life of, say, Big Blue or Mute City with Captain Falcon as a bounty hunter. This is where you can incorporate the Yakuza series beat-em-up mechanics and even the vast amount of side content. What I think would also be cool is if in this story mode you had the ability to use your bounties to upgrade your vehicles for in-game races. A upgrade system I would have in mind would be similar to that of the other racing minigames throughout the Yakuza series. It would also be really cool to include certain heat moves in racing as well, similar to that of Yakuza 5's taxi racing. I honestly think the biggest reason as to why I would like to see an F-Zero Yakuza crossover is because of the amazing job Nagoshi-san and his team has done with mixing narrative and gameplay. The whole feel and atmosphere of F-Zero GX just gave off this interesting vibe of a dog-eat-dog world, and only the best can rise to the top and achieve glory. I truly believe the amount of story potential here is endless and can lead to some pretty interesting writing we haven't seen in a video game like this. Additionally, I have seen a lot of fans say they would love to see an F-Zero beat-em-up game starring Captain Falcon, and what better studio to do that than the one who have created one of the best series out of its genre. Taking Nagoshi-san's experience, love of racing games and narrative, along with his knowledge of beat-em-ups, would make him and his team the perfect candidates to propel the F-Zero series into a future of games that you never could have known that you had wanted. It should also be noted that all of the music in this video was done by Hidenori Shoji, the lead composer of F-Zero GX and most of the Yakuza series. Now you guys get to play the fun game of guessing which music track is from which series. A lot of the music I hear while playing Yakuza honestly feel like they could have doubled as music for an F-Zero game. I guess the question that has to be asked now, is this kind of idea reasonable? Miyamoto-san did say the only reason why F-Zero has been dormant is because they can't find a way to innovate the series. I say this could very well be the idea that they need to spark something. While I guess it would be more reasonable to ask for a normal F-Zero game, I am pretty much up for anything that brings the series back into the limelight in a tasteful way. All in all, I feel like the F-Zero series probably has the most potential left at the door in terms of narrative and gameplay, and I think that the Yakuza formula could be an easy way for F-Zero to mix things up, both as a racing game and as a campy action sci-fi type game. Sadly, this may forever remain a pipe dream, as development of Yakuza 7 is well underway, and Ryoga Gokoto Studios is apparently working on a brand new project. While the optimist in me would like to hope it could be this dream game, Nagoshi-san has made no mention in recent years of his time with Nintendo working on the F-Zero series. But hey, who knows, stranger things have happened. And that does it for today's commentary. I would like to thank my patrons on Patreon for making this episode possible. Also, what do you guys think of my idea for having a narrative-focused F-Zero game with a beat-em-up combat system? Is this an example of too many cooks in the kitchen, or is it a game that you never knew that you wanted? Let me know down in the comment section below, as I would love to hear from you. All of this said, at this point, I'll take any new F-Zero game, haha. And hey, if you're just finding me for the first time and wandering into my channel through this video, be sure to subscribe for future reviews, commentaries, let's plays, and more. And as always everyone, thanks for watching.